Chapter 7. The Streets Raised Me. P-Funk is laying in the bed fast asleep. He is still comatose from the night before. Although it is only 11 a.m., it feels like he just laid down. It really doesn't help his situation that the phone has been ringing continuously. Several times he wanted to throw the phone up against the wall, but his better judgment prevailed. As he decides to sit up, he is reminded why he hasn't gotten any rest. He scratched throughout the night. He moans as he reaches for the ringing telephone. What up, yo? A wide awake Killer on the other end. Killer has a habit of always calling P-Funk at the wrong times. However, this time, Killer actually waited until 11. P-Funk only cringes when the wide awake voice says, Man, wake up. I need you to ride with me over to the Fisher Projects. P-Funk says with a tired voice that he will need a couple hours before he can pick him up. Man, the trick from last night gave me something. I think it's the crabs. P-Funk hadn't refused the sex. After all, it had only cost him a nickel sack. Killer laughs while saying, I told you that was a bad move. I still can't believe you did that shit. Especially when you could have fucked Ashanti. These comments send P-Funk to a place he doesn't want to go. While he was doing his bid, Ashanti stepped out on him. Not only did she stop visiting, the bitch didn't send any money. In fact, she didn't even accept his collect calls. And on top of that, she betrayed him without giving him an out so that he could save face. Of course, all these events caused P-Funk to resort to a non-caring, reckless attitude, getting buck wild with guards and other inmates over anything that seemed to challenge his manhood, which nonetheless caused him to serve more time. He had to put on his gorilla suit and take everything he needed or wanted. He still blames Ashanti for this abrupt mentality change and all the unnecessary grief this has brought to his life. All these emotions surface when he tells Killer, Son, you know how it is, being a player like myself. That bitch sold me out when I needed her most, and I promised myself that I would give that bitch the blues when I got home. I would rather trick with a crackhead than give her some of this dick. Killer isn't feeling him on these thoughts. However, since he hasn't been in prison before, he can't totally relate to the situation. His advice to P-Funk is to put away his pride and roll with what he's dealt. People have reasons for their actions and will eventually have to answer for them one day. You heard me? Never sweat the small stuff. P-Funk goes on to tell Killer that Ashanti can't just fuck over him like that because he was good to her. That bitch is lucky I ain't come home and plugged 16 in her dome. They chat a little longer and decide they will hook up around 1 o'clock. P-Funk needs time to get some medicine for the crabs that trick gave him. Later in the afternoon, heads are turning in amazement as they cruise through the Fisher, sipping on miniature bottles of Alizé, tipping in Killer's burgundy Escalade with the cream interior. Although he has many whips, the Escalade is ghetto fabulous. He has freaked it out to the fullest. 24-inch chrome rims, several screens, leather and wood grain. What really captures people's attention are the 8 diamonds on each rim. As he drives, the rims keep spinning, catching the sun, providing a shine so remarkable you get mesmerized for a minute or two. You can see people's mouths drop whenever the Escalade stops. The rims keep spinning. Killer lives for this ghetto fame and recognition. The Fisher Projects is the hot spot, especially now that it's summer. Shit, it seems like all the females are half naked. Some of the women call their shorts Daisy Dukes, but they may as well have been wearing thongs. All kinds of booty was protruding from fudge to vanilla to fudge chocolate. Some of the females, although young, have bodies that should be considered illegal. P-Funk couldn't believe his eyes. After being down for 4 years, he is ready to hit everything in sight. Killer simply smiles. This is his daily routine. Driving through the Fisher, watching the women jocking. Killer pulls over close to where a group of youngsters are chilling. He nods his head, and one dude approaches the truck. Before the dude approaches, P-Funk sticks his head out the window and yells, Yo, Red, what's up? A female close by thinks that he is referring to her and points to herself. Once Red notices who is in the truck, she looks at the girl and says, "Back up, Trick, that's my hustle over there." She hurries over to the vehicle, thinking that she's about to earn some quick loot. Realizing that she needs a hit, she almost runs over the dude who is on his way to the truck. Once she reaches the Escalade, P-Funk curses her out, calling her every kind of bitch he can think of. He points at her while saying, "You gave me the fucking crabs." She looks at him and continues rolling her eyes and says, "Clown, what'd you expect for a nickel piece of crack? Lobster?" Killer and all the youngsters on the corner burst out in laughter. P-Funk doesn't find this amusing, but he realizes this is part of the game when playing around with tricks, especially in the projects. Red is no fool either. She knows that P-Funk can kick her ass, so she hurriedly leaves, concluding that her chance to make a few bucks is gone. Killer looks at P-Funk as she walks away saying, "Damn, I see why dudes be trying to hit that. Look at that ass." They both exit the truck, leaving the music bumping at the top volume. The kids gather around and start dancing. Killer has some business to take care of. However, before he can start, his text comes in. The message read, "Don't be late." As he turns to go back to the truck, one of the youngsters calls him over. The kid is new to the area, and it surprises him when the kid says, "Is that P-Funk from the Cutoff?" Killer smiles, realizing that P-Funk still has his reputation. Killer wonders what the kid knows about P-Funk. The kid says, "I heard he's a for real gun squeezer." Killer tells the kid he'll holler at him some other time, collects some money from the other youngster, and returns to the Escalade. As they head out of the Fisher, the freaks are taking it all off, screaming, "Come back, hot boys, it's time to play." They ride back to their side of town. Killer tells P-Funk how much love and respect he has for him. This takes P-Funk back to the night on the Claiborne Bridge 4 years ago. He knew his partner was dirty, so he took the gun from Killer. He managed to throw the dope in the river, but he was unable to ditch the gun, which cost him the past 4 years. He now looks at Killer and realizes that he, too, has much love for him. Over the years, Killer has changed. He wears a mini fro, and his teeth are snow white. He's now 5 feet 9 and weighs 190 pounds. P-Funk has been out about 3 months now. It seems like a year. Killer is telling him about a party they're going to attend this evening. They pull up to Rubenstein Brothers on Canal Street. Killer tells P-Funk that they need to pick out some fly debonair gear. The valet tells Killer he will make sure to keep the Escalade in front of the store, knowing that he'll get a big tip for this extra courtesy. When they walk in Rubenstein's, Sergio, the manager, rushes over to them, knowing that Killer spins mad loot. Serge picks out a gray pinstripe Jill Sanders suit for Killer and a black Armani suit for P-Funk. The jackets have to be altered, but this is the norm for tailor-made outfits. P-Funk's really admiring the treatment they're receiving, as they are now served cocktails and caviar. Mulling over if they should get the Mari Ostrich or Alligators or the Andy Warhol Classics, the sales clerk walks over to assist them. P-Funk tells her he'd like the $1,000 Andy Warhols instead of the $1,400 Maris. "Sir, those shoes are not $1,000 a pair. They're $1,000 per shoe," she said while smiling. P-Funk smiles and says, "In that case, give me 2 pair of the Andy Warhols in black and burgundy, the tie-ups and the Oxfords." Looking at the sales clerk, Killer leans back and starts telling P-Funk about his fiancée, Linda Davis. Linda works for the district attorney's office and is well respected. Her brother is a state judge, and her father is a federal judge. It seems like her entire family is in the legal profession. Killer also tells him that the infamous Dorothy Davis is her mother. Mrs. Davis is the best female attorney in the city. Her reputation actually extends well beyond state lines. Killer finally decides on his shoes, and this time P-Funk gets a better look at the saleswoman. She has a dancer's body. Her face looks like an Indian angel's. Matter of fact, she looks like Jada, Essence fashion spoke model. His thoughts are interrupted by Sergio's voice. He tells Killer, "One of you guys left your equipment in the dressing room." P Funk says, "Oh shit," as he retrieves his chrome 16 shot Glock 45. Noticing the panic on Sergio's face, he pats him on the back and says, "It's like American Express. I never leave home without it." Killer observed the smoothness with which P Funk handled Sergio, but recognizes even more the smile that P Funk is giving the sales lady. He pulls P Funk to the side and whispers, "Ain't nothing shaking with that. I've been coming through here for years, along with all the other big money hustlers. Still no play. I think she like her own kind. Females." P Funk takes his advice and just smiles as she returns with their sizes. She asks P Funk if he wishes to set up an account like Killer. He stares into her eyes. "Miss, I just got out of prison. I don't even have a job." While he is talking, Sergio walks up holding their suits on hangers. They grab their merchandise and proceed to leave. Again, Killer notices the smile P Funk is displaying, but is surprised when he catches the sales lady smiling back. Killer leaves the valet a $100 tip, staying true to his reputation. They head towards the new crib Killer brought. Since his main man's returned to the bricks, he wants to show his homie how big and nice it looks inside. Killer knows with the money he makes and all the rides he drives, he has to get a house where the Jack Boys can't come without being invited. His crib's in English Turn, located in the upscale part of the city. It has a 10-foot brick wall built around it and security guards who patrol the area. They fire up a blunt, and while getting high, P Funk's mind drifts back to Ashanti. He can't get over how she treated him. No mail, no visits, and no collect calls. Even though Killer took care of all his needs, he hates that she went out like a trick-ass bitch. She has truly insulted him to the worst degree. He's brought back to the present when Killer asks, "So what do you think?" When he looks up, he sees the biggest house he has ever been in. P-Funk knew his boy had come up, but seeing this crib really actualizes that perception. They enter the 10,000 square foot house. P-Funk is like a hoe at a go-go. He's even in awe over the marble, gold fixtures, floor-to-ceiling drapes, and even an art gallery with life-size statues. Killer escorts him to the guest quarters, which is larger than his old condo, complete with a bathroom, walk-in closet, and jacuzzi. P-Funk decides to shower before doing anything else. He relaxes in the jacuzzi with bubbles to the rim and hears someone enter the bathroom. He looks up to see a blonde, a perfect 10 at that. She could be Gwen Stefani's twin. Her skirt is so high that he can practically see her pubic hair. "Hi, I'm Sandy. I was wondering if you needed anything else and if you found everything satisfactory." Before he could answer, the tip of his jaw poked through the surface of the bubbles. He notices the smile on her face and decides to ask her to join him. "I would love to," is all she says, as she wiggles out of her skirt and slides in. After being locked down for those 4 years, P-Funk knows his stamina isn't back to norm. He decides to issue some self-service while watching Sandy play with her coochie, running her fingers in and out, twirling the blonde curls that cover her entire crotch area. After he comes, she immediately grabs his dick and sucks him back to attention. He starts thinking, it's true. White girls are brain surgeons. They truly know how to dissect some head, and the operation she's now performing is definitely a miracle. He bends her over and slides his dick straight into her soaking wet pussy. While pumping in and out of her at a furious pace, P-Funk begins to get tired. After about 30 minutes of fucking in several positions, he finally comes all in her face and hair. They both stayed in unison. That was fun. Sandy washes P-Funk off, then herself, and says, "I hope I can get this treatment again. Before putting on her clothes, P-Funk nods and says, "You know you can. Just holler." P-Funk is all smiles as he puts on his fresh Armani suit. He looks in the mirror, which makes him appreciate his homie even more. Killer has truly set it out. The shoes, the clothes, the money, as well as sharing Sandy is a true sign of brotherhood. Thinking to himself, I know my man's got my back, ride or die. He reaches into shoebox and grabs the Andy Warhols, and as he slides his foot in, he feels some paper. He pulls out the paper and notices a name and a number. "Call me, Remy," is written in pink ink. He's reminded of the pink outfit the saleswoman wore at Rubenstein's earlier that day. He's startled from these thoughts as Killer yells, "Hey man, get the door. I'm just getting out the shower." P-Funk looks at the security camera and sees a white-on-white stretched Bentley out front. P-Funk excitedly hollers back at Killer, "It's a white limo out front and a chick at the door." Killer tells him to tell her they'll be out in 5 minutes. Pressing the intercom, P-Funk says, "We'll be out in a few." They eventually go down the steps, and Myra, the chauffeur, is holding the limo door open for them. P-Funk thinks to himself how shit has changed. Not only is their chauffeur a female, but damn, she's fine as hell. A Rachel Roy look-alike. She smiles as they get in while saying, "Gentlemen, your cocktails have been prepared." P-Funk looks at Killer. "You the man." They hug each other, understanding that the bond they share is tight. The fellas kick back as they ride to the party. Videos from Spring Bling are on the screen as they sip on their personal bottles of Cristal. The line at the party stretches all the way around the block. The entrance is set up like the music awards. Shit, the red carpet is rolled out to the curb. When they pull up front, P-Funk notices a gorgeous woman and thinks that this has to be Linda. She's dressed in a gray pinstripe skirt suit, very similar to what Killer has on. P-Funk imagines that Sergio planned that. Her beautiful smile, revealing her brace, lets P-Funk know Killer has a dub. Looking at Linda puts you in the mind of Mariah Carey. He notices that she has the sexiest legs that he has seen in years, and he isn't shocked. As she approaches the limo, Myra opens the door, and the woman embraces Killer like she hasn't seen him in weeks. They must have kissed for 5 minutes. Killer finally turns to him. "This is Paul Ford. Paul, this is Linda Davis, the love of my life." P-Funk is surprised at the people who are in attendance at the party. He sees many familiar faces, his attorney from 4 years ago, and the prosecutor who sent him up for the 4 years he just got out from doing. Across the room at the bar are the detectives that arrested him. He becomes completely paranoid, a panic that only a convicted felon could have or relate to. He almost jumps when Kevin Bosha, the warden from the farm, walks up and says, "Man, the farm isn't the same without you, but I'm glad you're hanging out with the right people." He pats him on the back and smiles as he walks away. Killer walks up, seeing the confusion in P-Funk's face. "Yo, Wody, relax, man. I'm partners in a law firm, and all these people are friends, no longer our enemies." They walk around and mingle for a few minutes. Killer introduces P-Funk to a lot of important people. While they're talking to the chief district judge, Linda walks up and gives the judge a kiss on the cheek as she hands each of them a martini. P-Funk takes this as his cue to roam about. He heads towards the other two banquet rooms that they had yet to conquer. He finds himself in line at the buffet. Immediately in front of him is a woman that looks and smells like class and exudes sophistication. The red Liz Claiborne dress suit fits her perfectly. She turns towards him while he's admiring her short hairstyle and is blinded when she says hello through the prettiest smile he has ever saw. All of this compliments her bedroom eyes. He confidently extends his hand. "Hello, I'm Paul Ford. That's a really lovely outfit you have on there." The woman blushes, embarrassed by his compliment. She returns the firmness of his handshake while saying, "Hello to you. I'm Mrs. Dorothy Davis." They retrieve their plates and entertain each other with idle conversation. They talk about the justice system, politics, and how it's all geared to ostracize and academically cripple black youth. She truly enjoys his interest in law and assumes him to be an attorney. However, she isn't too concerned when he tells her he's a convicted felon. She smiles to herself, realizing that she has been conversing with a convict. What would her husband think? He notices her smile and takes the opportunity to ask her for a business card, just in case he may need her services. He examines the card while asking, "What if I need to reach you immediately?" She looks at him. "Are you trying to hit on me?" He realizes that her husband is a judge, but the smile on her face lets him know that she is simply flirting, just like him. He asks, "Is it a crime to entertain the judge's wife?" They both laugh as he apologizes, extending his hand as a truce. Further conversation reveals that this happens to her frequently, especially from her clients at the jail. She explains that she often tells them that she is too old for them, but appreciates their advances. P-Funk smiles. "The older the better, my queen." She is taken aback by his comment and simply responds, "There are many queens here. Maybe some around your age. If you try a little harder, maybe you can catch their attention." With a frown, he says, "I don't know. But it's apparent that I didn't catch yours." She reaches out and grasps his hand while saying, "I didn't say that you haven't attracted my attention." He interrupts, "Let's go out." She explains that she is happily married and really loves her husband. P-Funk softens the grip on her hand and intensifies his charm. "There's nothing wrong with a little variety now and then." She smiles, intrigued by his persistence. She thinks about how her husband has been claiming to be so tired lately and how she caught him with his secretary all over him. P-Funk startles her thoughts by saying, "Nothing beats a failure but a try." She looks him in the eye and tells him to text her tomorrow. They'll do lunch. When she brushes past him, she is sure to rub up against his dick, letting him know to be ready.